Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Andy Woosley. I'm the Professional Services Manager here at Fortran GoAnywhere, and I'm going to walk you through a standard Windows upgrade from any version 7.3.1 or newer. So I'm going to take you through, this one's going to be a Derby database. So if you have a Derby database, this is going to be good instructions for you to follow. So we're going to take these steps and we're going to go through it and we'll see how it works. All right. So the pre-upgrade really for this is you got to be on a operating system that's supported by Microsoft. So that would be Windows Server 2016, 19, 2022, and 2025. Our Go Anywhere release has to be 7.3.1 or newer because our support life is only good for 2 years. So if you're older than that, consider going with our professional services team. Or if you want to download the documentation and do it yourself, you can. The key to these is always to take a backup before you get started. Back up your database, back up your server, so you have a place to fall back to. I call it a safety net. So we're going to upgrade all the way from 7.3.1 to 7.8.4. Good news, this is a single hop, right? There's not going to be any secondary upgrades, just from one upgrade from 7.3.1 to 7.8.4. So I've got a test lab environment here. We're going to walk through that. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we're on the right version. So I'm going to sign in to Go Anywhere. Okay, so we're going to sign in. I like to have those step kind of on the side here. So give me just 1 second. And then we will split screens a little bit. And we'll center that guy. Okay, so we're going to sign into our Go Anywhere console. Now a tip here is you also have to be on the actual Go Anywhere box. You have to be on the server. So remote desktop, whatever tools you use to get on the server itself, you cannot do this from a desktop. You have to be on the actual Go Anywhere server. So I've signed in and I'm going to take a look and I'm going to find my version by going to Help and About. And you'll see that I am on 7.3.1. While I'm in here, I also like to notate the installation directory. Now, your instance may be C program files, help systems, could be C program files on Noma software. Go Anywhere has kind of gone through some different changes there. So if you look for that, that'll tell you where your installation directory is, or we call install dir, and we're going to use that throughout the course of this. So once we know our installation directory or install dir, I've got that listed. I got my version. If your version is 7.3.2 or 7.4.1, any of those versions above 7.3.1 will work for this video. Also, this is a Derby database, so I want to check that your database configuration is set to Derby, system database configuration, and you'll look for a Derby right here. So if you've got something other than Derby here, if you got a Microsoft SQL, that's great. We have another video for that, but if yours is Derby, you can continue. If not, we'll pick you up in a different video. In fact, we recommend all of our enterprise customers switch off of Derby for both security and for performance reasons. I would recommend externalizing that database to any popular SQL server option. Microsoft SQL, Oracle, Postgres, MySQL, all of those are option because it's a Java application. We can use a JDBC driver to connect to that on a separate server. So if you're still with me here, we've got Derby and we're ready to go. Now we need the instructions. Right? You maybe have downloaded the instructions and they're confusing. I'm going to try to reduce that footprint so it's a little easier. So we're going to go ahead and download the instructions. So you're going to go to my.goanywhere.com and you're going to sign in with your credentials. Okay, now that I've got my password in, we'll sign in and we're going to download the guide and the upgrade jar. So to do that, we're going to sign in and go to product downloads. And we're going to choose our product, which is GoAnywhere MFT. We're going to pick the downloads underneath our Windows 64-bit. So we've got GoAnywhere there, and we've got 64-bit, and we've got links for upgrades. So the upgrades are right here. And so we're going to grab the guide. This is really important. I'm referencing the guide in here, so we're going to download that. And we're going to download the jar file. Collapse that for a second. You can also upgrade with this exe. That works as well. I typically use a jar file. I'll do this for both the MFT and the gateway. This one's just on MFT. Works fine with just a jar. Either one works fine. Again, confirmed on our DB database. Now what we're going to do is we've got the downloads we need. We're going to check on the install directory. So the install dir, which we said was C program files, we're going to use our Windows Explorer. Go to C program files, Fortra, GoAnywhere. Again, yours could be help systems or Lenovo software, GoAnywhere. Could also be the D drive. You could have a D drive if you have an installation like that. That's fine too. What we're looking for in the installation directory is the size. The reason we care about the size is we want to make sure that we have enough room on disk. Part of the upgrade process, we back up this folder. So this one's only 518 meg, but I have one on my other testing station that's 9 gig. So you might have a very large install directory. So I want you to have at least 1.5 times that in here. So if I had 9 gig over there, I'd want to have at least 15 gig so I would be able to back up that folder as I go. If you notice your folder is really large, then you should probably go into your install directory and check to see with Windows when there's some problems with the process ID, it'll create what we call a PID dump or a PID log. So anything with this HS_ERR that's a PID log or a PID MDMP, those files are not needed. They're just for kind of capturing a process ID failure. So I would recommend you delete all these to shrink the size. The logs aren't big, but the actual dump files are huge. So I would delete these to keep this folder a little smaller, and then also check that you have enough hard drive after that. So that's what this section is really checking here. We want to calculate that we have enough folders and size. We're going to get rid of all the HS_PID dump files. Now, the other thing you got to watch for, if you're older than 7.4, you pay attention here. If you're newer than 7.4, you don't have to. We've changed the way our SMB network shares handle file modification dates. So with that, anything that you've already got active with a file modification date with a network share that's using our SMB all versions needs to be disabled or the application will not complete the upgrade. Now, this is pretty easy to find in my instance because I've only added just one. But what you're looking for is workflows and then monitors. And you're looking for anything that's tied to a network share type. Make this a little bigger here. Let's see if we've got that column. Monitor location, apply that. In the monitor location, looking for a local network location like this. And you're looking for the type of file modified or new, created or modified, or file exists, file modified. All those are going to flag this. So what you need to do is you need to disable this monitor, or if you have multiple monitors before you ever get started, so you can just deactivate. Now, if you have multiple, take notes of which they are. If you miss one, the upgrade log will tell you. It will say, I cannot validate this upgrade because I found a network share that has this particular type. So it will stop you. So you aren't out of luck if you forget one or miss one. In fact, I'm going to leave it in this example to make sure it does perform that way as mentioned. So it can fail, and we'll show you what that looks like in the log. So we're kind of ready. We have the upgrade log, we have the upgrade guide. I would recommend going through the guide. I've cut out some steps to try to make it just Windows focused and succinct for this time period. But before we upgrade, this is important. We want to create a snapshot. We want to spot in time before we upgrade the system, and in case anything happens, right? Our safety net. If we had a failure, the upgrade didn't like something in the database table, something was corrupt, we have a way to go back to the version we were on before. So whatever tools you have in your organization, I would take a snapshot of the VM. That's very common. There are other ways to do it. There's other utilities out there, but I'm not going to demonstrate that because there's a myriad of ways you can do it. But we'll stop this instance and we'll upgrade it. But we want to right now take a snapshot of this machine. So once that's completed, we're going to go into the upgrade steps. And we're going to stop the GoAnywhere Windows service. So we're going to go to GoAnywhere and just do a stop. Once we've stopped that, our GUI should stop working. If I refresh this, it'll give me like an Ajax error or something like that. It's gone. So GoAnywhere is no longer going to load, right? So we know it's stopped. Then we're going to take a look at our downloads. We downloaded some files, right? We download the upgrade guide. If you're reading the upgrade guide and following along, I want to copy this upgrade jar file and I'm going to place it into the install dir. In this case, it's going to be program files Fortra GoAnywhere. But I'm also going to go one step further. I'm going to paste it into the upgrader folder. And when we paste into this upgrader folder right here, we've now got a GA upgrade 7.8.4 jar. Well, after we've pasted in the upgrader folder, we need to rename without the extension. So we're going to remove the 7.8.4 part of that jar. So I just hit F2 for rename, and I'm going to delete those characters, and now I've got an upgrade jar inside that folder. Then what we do is we need to run Windows command prompt as an administrator. So the easiest way I like to do is just type in CMD, and then you can just do run as admin here, and this will take you to a command prompt. Then you can just do a CD, right? A CD enter, CD slash enter. And then you can do a CD. If you start typing the characters and just tab, I want to go to program files, and I'm going to pick Fortra. I've got enough characters in there. And then I'm going to pick GoAnywhere, and then I'm going to pick Upgrader. I'm just hitting tab once I put a couple characters in. And now I'm in that directory, right? So I've stopped the service. I've renamed the jar file, and I'm in the install directory upgrader folder. Then the command is upgrade.bat. Now this will fire the upgrade, and we're going to do that now. Now, if I did this right, it should get mad about that monitor. GoAnywhere validation failed, right? Upgrade was not started. See the log for details. Here's the log. It's got a log right there. So I'm going to browse out to that, and it should tell me why it failed, and it should match what I just told you, that I have a monitor. Upgrade's not started. Upgrade failed. See log for details. Okay, let's keep looking. Disable the following monitors to complete the upgrade. Network share monitor. So we're going to go back to upgrader. The upgrade jar is still there, which is great. We didn't start the upgrade. Then we're going to go to our GoAnywhere. We have to restart it because it's off right now. And then we're going to go ahead and disable that monitor. So it's a really common mistake to miss one of those. So don't worry about it. You didn't lose anything. You didn't break anything. This is a pre-validation. It didn't wreck your instance. Let's go back to GoAnywhere. It's a newer link. That's not the right link, but it should have the same URL. Make sure the service stays started. Sometimes it takes a second. There we go. So we're going to sign back in, and we're going to disable that monitor. Workflows, monitors. Now, if you have a lot of monitors, it could take a little bit of time. You should be able to sort by this monitor location. Like if you've got 100 in here, and you can sort by that too. You see those little double arrows? That will work. So I'm just going to deactivate this. You should write that down so you don't want it to come back up and not reactivate it. So that's important. Now that it's deactivated, I'm going to log back out. And we should be a little happier with the upgrade process now. Broke it on purpose so you could see what would happen. Okay, so upgrade's done. It's not done, but we're going to start it again. So we're going to go back here. I'm just going to hit the up arrow to pull back the last thing I tried. I'm going to give it a second to shut down. Now we're going to try this again. GoAnywhere still started, the upgrade will fail as well, of course. This does require a maintenance window. Now I've got a 7.8.4 log -2, so we've got another upgrade log that'll tell the story. Now this command prompt will also tell me if the upgrade was completed successfully. So sometimes it takes a minute in here. If you get impatient, you can go view that log inside of Windows Explorer and see what it looks like. GoAnywhere was upgraded successfully when file moved. So they moved the upgrade jar out of the folder, and we can now start the service back up. So we have the success path here. So we're going to exit the command prompt. You can either just X out or just type in exit. And we're going to start the GoAnywhere service. We're going to go back to GoAnywhere and click start. And we'll give it a minute or so to load, and we're going to validate the version inside of the application GUI. So let's look as we can look at the log too while we're waiting for it to load. GoAnywhere Upgrader logs, we have the 7.8.4.2, and you can just go to the bottom and look at the happy path that GoAnywhere was upgraded successfully. So did a bunch of upgrades, everything from 7.3.1 in this case, all the way up to 7.8.4. So it's nice, it's a single hop, it's wonderful. You don't have to do a bunch of different upgrades and change Java and all that fun stuff. So let's relaunch the admin GUI. And give it a little longer, I guess. There we go, it came up. I'm not patient. All right, training, GoAnywhere. And we're going to validate the system. So what you're really looking for is the easy, quick answer is the version, right? Help and about. And you can see the version is 7.8.4. 7.8.4 is a fully remediated version. It is the latest release that GoAnywhere has. And you're effectively done, except remember I deactivated that monitor. So I'm going to have to go back in and reactivate any of those monitors. But you can just click the activate and you're back in business. That's it. That's the completion of the upgrade. Now you want to check that your service is running. You want to look at those. You can do that. You can do an SFTP test. You can look for other things, but effectively 7.3 to 7.8.4 is a small enough jump. All of the things you could possibly have are listed over here. So the one thing that we did change is the JDBC driver for Microsoft SQL. So if you have a SQL database resource like I do here, we've enforced a requirement to encrypt, or Microsoft has with their drivers. Right? So if I look at my database servers, you will need, if you have it in this space, you will need to make sure you have encrypt equals true and trust certificate equals true. That will allow you to connect to a database that maybe is not set to encrypt at all. Now, these attributes here, you can also get to those by rebuilding in this wizard here. We won't do that today, but if you have these here, you go back and test your resources after and make sure they still work. That's it. Thank you for watching. This is a Windows upgrade from 7.3.1 to 7.8.4.